Dr. Sarah Chen stood transfixed as the crystalline ship reached Earth's atmosphere, its luminescent hull casting prismatic shadows across the Death Valley landscape. The vessel's descent wasn't the controlled approach of a planned landing, but rather the desperate spiral of a craft in distress. Through her telescope, she watched fragments of the ship's outer layer scatter like diamond dust through the night sky. The impact sent tremors through the desert floor, powerful enough to register on seismographs across California. Within hours, the site was swarming with military personnel, but Dr. Chen's early presence and astronomical credentials granted her unprecedented access to humanity's first contact. The ship's hull gleamed with an inner light, its surface etched with intricate patterns that seemed to shift and flow like liquid mercury. As the emergency response team approached, a section of the vessel dissolved, revealing a chamber that defied Earth's understanding of physics. Inside, suspended in a field of dancing lights, lay the pilot. The alien's form was surprisingly elegant, tall and slender, with skin that shimmered like opal. Its four-fingered hand reached out toward Dr. Chen as she stepped forward, drawn by an inexplicable sense of urgency. The universal translator, hastily adapted from the ship's systems, crackled to life. "Your world," the pilot's thoughts manifested as words, remains unknown to them, hidden in what they call the dead zone. But not for long. Each word seemed to drain more energy from the dying visitor. Through labored communications, the pilot revealed the existence of the Stellar Regime, an advanced civilization that had conquered thousands of worlds across multiple galaxies. Their method was always the same: first contact, followed by cultural assimilation, and finally, complete technological integration. Those who resisted simply disappeared. "Your radio signals," the pilot continued, "have finally reached their outer sensors. They come now with their ships of crystal and light, bearing gifts that chain and promises that bind." Dr. Chen watched in amazement as the alien activated a holographic display, showing vast armadas of ships similar to the crashed vessel, but weaponized and stretched to impossible proportions. The images shifted to reveal worlds transformed by the regime's influence, once unique civilizations now homogenized under crystalline spires and pulsing energy grids. "But you," the pilot's thoughts grew stronger for a moment. "You are different. Your isolation has bred innovation they cannot predict. Your planet's magnetic field, your binary computing. Primitive, they will say, but perhaps." The alien's voice faded as its life force ebbed. With its final moments, the pilot transferred its ship's database to Earth's systems. Star charts, technical specifications, and historical records flooded into secure servers across the globe. Its last words echoed through the translator. "They believe themselves gods among the stars. Show them they are not alone in that height." As dawn broke over the desert, Dr. Chen watched military units establish a perimeter around the crash site. Above, the first hints of sunrise revealed unusual patterns in the clouds, geometric shapes that shouldn't exist in nature. The Stellar Regime's scouts had already arrived, and humanity's greatest test was about to begin. The message had been delivered. The warning was clear. And in labs and command centers across the planet, the best minds of Earth began to prepare for a war unlike any in human history. A war that would begin not with a bang, but with a whisper among the stars. Colonel Maya Patel surveyed the transformed landscape of New Delhi from her hidden command center beneath the ancient ruins of Purana Kila. What had once been a bustling metropolis of 30 million now appeared as a scattered collection of mud huts and basic farming communities. The holographic masking system, powered by reversed-engineered crystal technology, had exceeded all expectations. "Operation Mirage Status Report," she commanded, watching as her global monitoring system displayed green indicators across every continent. 6 months of unprecedented global cooperation had transformed Earth into humanity's greatest performance stage. In Paris, the Eiffel Tower now appeared as the crumbling remains of an ancient space elevator, its true structure hidden beneath layers of quantum camouflage. Tokyo's skyscrapers had become overgrown ruins, seemingly abandoned for centuries. Each major city on Earth maintained its full functionality beneath a carefully crafted veneer of primitive civilization. The deception went far beyond mere visual tricks. When the stellar regime's first scout ships entered the atmosphere, they detected only the heat signatures of small fires and basic tool usage. The advanced energy signatures of human civilization remained hidden behind the crystalline pilot's final gift, a network of energy-absorbing satellites that masked Earth's true technological level. Maya's tablet chimed with an urgent message from Dr. Chen. Deep space arrays detect main regime fleet approaching. Time to test our greatest performance. As the massive crystalline ships descended through the clouds, humanity held its collective breath. Years of behavioral studies based on the pilot's database had led to this moment. Every visible human settlement had been carefully choreographed to appear primitive yet intriguing, advanced enough to have basic tools but seemingly trapped in a technological dark age. The first contact team from the regime landed outside the holographic ruins of Washington, D.C. They emerged from their ship expecting to find another civilization to guide into their empire. Instead, they encountered a group of humans dressed in rough clothing, appearing to worship the crystalline vessel as a sign from their gods. Maya watched through hidden cameras as the regime's cultural assessment team documented Earth's apparent civilization level. Their scanners, highly advanced yet predictable in their search patterns, found exactly what humanity wanted them to find: fragments of an ancient, advanced civilization, now lost to time, with its descendants reduced to a primitive state. The leader of the assessment team made his report, transmitted clearly through Earth's hidden monitoring systems. Planet designation Sol 3 shows evidence of previous advancement. Current indigenous population demonstrates significant technological regression. Recommendation: minimal oversight presence, potential for future reassessment in 300 cycles. In her command center, Maya allowed herself a small smile. The first phase of humanity's greatest deception had succeeded. As the bulk of the regime's fleet began to withdraw, leaving behind only a token observation force, she sent a single encoded message to military commands worldwide. Phase 2 authorized. Begin reverse engineering of all observed regime technology. The real work starts now. Above ground, humans continued their carefully choreographed dance of primitive survival. Below, in hidden facilities across the globe, engineers and scientists began the meticulous process of understanding and improving upon the regime's crystal technology. The art of misdirection had bought humanity its most precious resource: time. Deep beneath the streets of Silicon Valley, Alex Zhang stared at the pulsing crystal matrix floating in the quantum containment field. 3 years of studying the alien technology had led to this moment. The 26-year-old engineer had noticed something everyone else had missed. The crystals responded to sound as much as light. Run test sequence Delta, Alex commanded, adjusting his sonic resonator. The crystal's internal structure shifted, its lattice patterns reorganizing as sound waves washed over it. On the nearby screens, lines of binary code began translating into crystalline patterns, and back again. Dr. Sarah Chen, now head of the Global Innovation Initiative, watched from the observation deck. "You've done it, Alex. You've created a bridge between our technologies." The breakthrough was elegant in its simplicity. While others had tried to force Earth's digital systems to conform to crystal computing, Alex had discovered a way to let them communicate through synchronized vibrations. The crystal's quantum states could be influenced by precisely tuned sound waves, creating a harmony between human and alien technology. Teams across the underground facility sprang into action. Engineers began adapting the interface to everything from communication systems to weapon controls. The hybrid technology solved their biggest challenge: creating systems that could interact with regime technology while remaining invisible to their scans. In her private lab, Dr. Chen activated a secure channel to Colonel Patel's command center. The holographic display showed Maya's face, now bearing the weight of 3 years of maintaining humanity's greatest deception. How soon can we implement this? The first hybrid systems are already being installed in our hidden facilities, Sarah replied, watching as technicians carefully integrated crystal matrices into conventional computers. Alex's discovery changes everything. We can finally build ships that speak both languages. The facility's production floor had been transformed into an assembly line for the new hybrid computers. Each unit combined Earth's reliable electronic systems with crystal quantum processors, creating technology that was both powerful and undetectable. The regime's sensors, calibrated to detect only pure crystal tech, would see nothing but background noise. Alex worked tirelessly with teams around the world, teaching them the precise frequencies needed to communicate with the crystals. Each culture added its own innovations. Indian engineers incorporated Sanskrit rhythms into the sonic patterns, while Japanese scientists developed miniaturized resonators using ancient bell-casting techniques. 3 months later, the first hybrid ship took flight from a hidden base in the Rockies. Its hull, a combination of traditional metals and crystal lattices, reflected the morning sun like dewdrops on a spider's web. Inside, human pilots interfaced with crystal navigation systems through sonic controllers, guiding the vessel with a precision that matched any regime ship. Sarah watched the test flight from her office, remembering the dying pilot's words about humanity's isolation-breeding innovation. They had done more than just reverse engineer alien technology. They had created something entirely new. Begin mass production, she ordered through the global command network. And make sure our friends in the observation posts don't see anything but primitive tribes still struggling to invent the wheel. Above ground, humans continued their carefully choreographed display of technological backwardness. Below, a revolution in hybrid technology was about to change the course of galactic history. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood at the viewport of humanity's first interplanetary hybrid ship, watching as Mars grew from a red dot to a massive crimson sphere. The vessel, christened Phoenix, represented everything they had achieved in the past 4 years. Its hull hummed with the harmonic resonance of crystal tech, merged with human engineering. Final approach to Olympus site, her navigator announced. The massive volcano that would house their primary base loomed ahead, its shadow stretching across the Martian surface. The regime's observation posts on Earth remained fixated on their primitive subjects, never considering that humanity might reach for the stars right under their noses. The landing site had been chosen with mathematical precision. Alex Young's latest innovation utilized Mars' natural magnetic fields to create a planetary-scale stealth system. The crystals in Phoenix's hull sang in harmony with the magnetic resonance, rendering the ship invisible to any watching eyes. Construction crews report ready, Elena's comm officer relayed. Within the ship's cargo hold, hundreds of prefabricated base components waited, each built with the same hybrid technology that powered their ship. Regular status updates from Earth confirmed that the regime's observers remained oblivious, still watching humans perform their daily routines of primitive survival. The first components of the Mars base emerged from Phoenix like pieces of a massive puzzle. Robotic construction units, their movements masked by the magnetic field, began assembling the foundation. The Lena watched in pride as the base took shape, its crystal-reinforced structures rising from the red soil of their new home. Dr. Chen's voice came through on the secure channel. "Captain, we've made an unexpected discovery. The magnetic interference isn't just hiding us, it's enhancing the crystal's computational capacity. The hybrid systems are performing 300% above Earth-based tests." Elena walked through the newly constructed corridors of the Mars base, now designated as Project Olympus. The walls pulsed with lines of crystal energy, each chamber growing more sophisticated as the hybrid technology adapted to its new environment. They had expected to build a hidden fortress. Instead, they had stumbled upon a natural amplifier for their greatest technological breakthrough. "Begin Phase 2, she ordered, watching as crews unveiled the massive manufacturing facilities. The first production line would create more hybrid ships, each one improved by the lessons learned from Phoenix's journey. The second would develop weapon systems that could pierce the regime's crystal shields while remaining undetectable to their sensors. Colonel Patel's hologram appeared in the command center, her expression both proud and concerned. The regime's annual inspection of Earth is in 3 days. They'll be looking at Mars too. Make sure everything is ready. As if in response, the base's crystal matrix hummed, its frequency matching the planet's magnetic pulse. The entire facility disappeared from both visual and electronic detection, becoming one with Mars' natural energy field. Even the heat signatures of their manufacturing processes were absorbed and dispersed by the hybrid systems. Elena sent a final message to Earth. Project Olympus is operational. Mars is now humanity's shield and sword. She looked out at the red landscape, knowing that beneath its surface, the next phase of human evolution was taking shape. The regime thought they had found a primitive species barely worth monitoring. Soon, they would learn just how wrong they were. James Chen, Dr. Sarah Chen's brother and Earth's top linguist, adjusted his mining uniform as the regime's transport ship docked at the asteroid belt facility. His cover identity as a simple maintenance worker had gotten him placed on countless regime operations over the past year. Like hundreds of other human agents, he worked in plain sight while building a network that would change the galaxy. The crystalline corridors of Mining Station Echo 7 sparkled with their usual cold brilliance. James moved through his routine maintenance checks, each motion carefully measured to appear unpracticed. His true mission lay in the subtle patterns he traced on the crystal walls, patterns that contained encoded messages using Alex Jung's sonic resonance discovery. A drachnid worker, tall and scaled with 4 arms, passed him in the corridor. To any observers, their interaction looked like a simple nod between laborers. In reality, the drachnid's subtle eye movement acknowledged receipt of James's latest transmission, specifications for adapting hybrid technology to their unique biology. Worker Chen proceed to Section Delta for routine crystal maintenance, the station's automated system announced. James smiled inwardly. Section Delta housed the station's communication array, exactly where he needed to be. As he worked, his tools sent invisible pulses through the station's crystal structure, carrying messages to every species represented among the workforce. The regime had built their empire on crystal technology, never imagining it could become the very medium of their undoing. Back on Mars, Captain Rodriguez monitored the growing network from Project Olympus. Holographic displays showed hundreds of similar operations across the solar system. Each mining station, research facility, and transport hub had become a node in humanity's secret communication web. Message from Deep Strike Team approved, her communications officer reported. Another group of human volunteers had successfully integrated into a regime facility, ready to share the secrets of hybrid technology with more potential allies. The regime's own efficiency worked against them. Their standardized crystal architecture meant that once humanity cracked their communications code, they could reach any crystal-based system in the Empire. Every maintenance cycle became an opportunity to spread the seeds of resistance. In her Earth Command Center, Colonel Patel reviewed the latest intelligence. The network had grown beyond their wildest expectations. Species that had been enemies under regime rule now worked together in secret, united by humanity's example of resilience and innovation. New allies confirmed in Sector 7, an analyst reported. The Meridians have adapted our hybrid tech to their photosynthetic computing systems. Their entire mining fleet is now compromised. James completed his maintenance round, his tools having transmitted terabytes of encrypted data through the crystal networks. He passed another drachnid worker, this one carrying components that would soon be converted into hybrid technology using the plans he had just shared. The regime's overseers remained focused on their production quotas, never noticing the subtle changes in their crystal systems. They saw only what they expected to see, simple laborers going about their assigned tasks, keeping their vast machine of empire running smoothly. But beneath the surface, a revolution was growing. Every crystal in every regime facility now carried echoes of freedom, spreading humanity's message across the stars. Change was coming, and this time, it would come from within. The moment of revelation came not with a whisper, but with a lightning storm that danced across Earth's skies. A junior regime observer, more curious than his peers, had noticed an anomaly in the atmospheric readings. His probe penetrated deeper than usual, bypassing the first layers of humanity's deception. Colonel Maya Patel watched from her command center as the regime's full attention suddenly focused on Earth. They were bound to notice eventually. She transmitted to the Global Defense Network. Initiate Protocol Thunderbolt. The holographic masking systems deactivated in a cascading wave across the planet. Skyscrapers shimmered into view as artificial ruins melted away. The primitive settlements vanished, revealing advanced cities humming with hybrid technology. Earth transformed from a technological backwater to a gleaming jewel of innovation in mere seconds. The regime's response was immediate and overwhelming. Their battle fleet emerged from hyperspace, crystal ships filling the skies like a swarm of angry stars. Their energy weapons powered up, ready to make an example of the world that had dared to deceive them. Now, Dr. Chen, Maya commanded through the secure channel. Show them what human science can do. Sarah Chen, watching from her laboratory beneath the Rockies, activated the planetary defense grid. The magnetic shield technology developed on Mars had been adapted and enhanced. As the regime's energy weapons fired, their beams struck the invisible barrier and scattered, transformed into curtains of harmless light that danced across the atmosphere. Captain Rodriguez, coordinating from Project Olympus on Mars, launched the first wave of hybrid ships. Their hulls sang with crystalline harmonies as they emerged from the red planet's magnetic cloak. The regime commanders barely had time to register the presence of a second defended world before the hybrid fleet engaged. All ships, execute Pattern Indigo. Alina broadcast. The human vessels moved in ways that defied the regime's tactical computers, their hybrid drives allowing maneuvers that pure crystal technology couldn't match. Each ship's crystal matrix pulsed with Earth's unique resonance frequency, turning their engines into weapons that disrupted enemy shields. James Chen, still maintaining his cover on mining station Echo 7, sent the signal that activated sleeper protocols in facilities across the solar system. Countless regime systems, subtly modified over years of secret maintenance, suddenly responded to human command codes. Defense platforms turned on their creators, while transport ships found themselves locked out of hyperspace. The regime flagship, a massive crystalline structure that dwarfed all other vessels, moved to center stage. Its commander opened a communication channel, expecting to demand surrender. Instead, his own crew, members of various species secretly allied with humanity, seized control of the bridge. Maya watched as the battle unfolded exactly as they had planned. Years of preparation, deception, and innovation culminated in this perfect moment. The regime's rigid tactics crumbled before humanity's unconventional strategy, their superior numbers rendered meaningless by technology they couldn't understand. Status report, she called out, watching the tactical display. Regime forces are in disarray, her officer reported. Their crystal-based targeting systems can't lock onto our hybrid ships. Their energy weapons are useless against our magnetic shields, and their own systems are turning against them. The lightning storm continued above, but now it was a celebration rather than a revelation. Humanity had not only survived its greatest test, it had transformed the very nature of galactic warfare. The Great Hall of the former regime flagship gleamed with a new purpose as representatives from 20 different species gathered for the first Liberation Council. Captain Alina Rodriguez stood at the crystal podium, now modified with hybrid interfaces that allowed all species present to perceive the proceedings in their native sensory languages. The solar system was just the beginning, Alina announced, her words translating into everything from light patterns for the photosynthetic meridians to resonant frequencies for the crystalline lithosians. Our victory here has sparked a chain reaction across the galaxy. Holographic displays showed the spread of rebellion across former regime space. The hybrid technology developed by humans had proved adaptable to every species' unique biology and technological base. What worked for one world became inspiration for another, each adaptation adding new strengths to their shared knowledge. James Chen, no longer hiding his expertise, worked with a team of xenolinguists to enhance the communication networks. The sonic resonance patterns he had once used for secret messages now formed the basis of a new galactic translation standard, allowing instant understanding between all allied species. Message from the Drachnid homeworld, a communications officer announced. On the main screen, the image of a massive space station appeared. Its crystal architecture had been transformed, integrated with both human hybrid tech and unique Drachnid biological computing. Another world declaring independence from the regime's standardized control. Dr. Sarah Chen watched from her new laboratory aboard the Liberation flagship as reports flooded in from across the galaxy. Each former regime world discovered that the primitive maintenance protocols installed by human agents had given them control of their own infrastructure. Defense systems, transportation networks, and communication hubs all responded to local command rather than central regime authority. The regime's strength was always an illusion, she explained to a group of alien scientists. They built an empire on the idea that their crystal technology was the only path to advancement. We proved there are as many paths as there are species willing to innovate. Colonel Maya Patel, coordinating the strategic response to remaining regime holdouts, received constant updates of new worlds joining the alliance. Each liberation made the next easier as their combined knowledge grew. Hybrid ships of human design, enhanced by Meridian photonic drives and protected by Drachnid bioshields, moved through the galaxy with unprecedented speed and security. The Lithosians, a species composed of living crystal, provided perhaps the most surprising support. Their natural ability to interface with crystal technology, combined with human innovation, created new possibilities that even the regime had never imagined. Their worlds became communication hubs for the growing alliance. We are not here to replace one empire with another, Alina continued in her address. Each world, each species now has the freedom to develop its own path. Our strength comes not from enforced uniformity, but from the harmony of our differences. The Great Hall erupted in a celebration that transcended species barriers. Light patterns danced with sonic pulses, crystalline resonance merged with biological signals, all expressing the same emotion in different forms. The galaxy was transforming, and at its heart stood the most unexpected of catalysts, a species that had turned its isolation into an advantage and its perceived primitiveness into a shield for innovation. 5 years after the Liberation Council's first meeting, Earth had transformed from a hidden world to the heart of a new galactic community. The Singapore Space Exchange buzzed with activity as ships from across the galaxy arrived, each bringing unique contributions to the growing alliance of free worlds. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in her new Academy of Hybrid Sciences, watching students from 30 different species collaborate on projects that would have been impossible under the regime's rigid systems. A young Meridian researcher had just discovered how to merge photonic computing with human neural interfaces, while a Drachnid engineering team had successfully integrated their biological technology with Earth's quantum systems. Remember when we pretended to be primitives? Colonel Maya Patel, now Ambassador Patel, joined Sarah at the observation window. Now look at us, teaching advanced physics to beings made of living crystal. The Academy's central plaza displayed a holographic memorial, the crashed ship that had brought Earth its first warning. Beside it stood a statue of the pilot who had sacrificed everything to give humanity a chance. Its crystal surface now pulsed with the combined life signatures of all the species that had found freedom. James Chen's Universal Communication Network had evolved beyond simple translation. The system now allows sharing of concepts and experiences across species barriers, creating understanding that transcended physical differences. Trade routes flourished as cultures exchanged not just goods but ideas, each innovation building upon the last. Captain Alina Rodriguez, commanding the exploration vessel Phoenix II, transmitted regular reports of new discoveries in formerly restricted space. The hybrid ships, now enhanced by the combined knowledge of multiple species, could travel faster and further than anything the regime had built. Each voyage revealed new worlds eager to join the alliance. Message from the Lithosian core worlds. A communications officer announced in the Singapore Control Center. The crystalline beings had transformed their entire sector into a vast information network, using modified versions of the same sonic resonance technology that had once carried secret messages of rebellion. Alex Shung, whose simple discovery about crystal harmonics had started it all, now led the Interspecies Innovation Council. Under his guidance, the Alliance developed technologies that respected and enhanced each species' unique characteristics rather than forcing them into a standardized mold. The real victory wasn't defeating the regime, Sarah reflected, watching a group of alien children playing in the Academy Gardens. It was proving that true advancement comes from embracing differences rather than enforcing uniformity. The Singapore Space Exchange's crystal spires shimmered with the combined energy signatures of 1,000 worlds. Each pattern was unique, yet they all worked in harmony, creating something greater than the sum of their parts. Earth's cities no longer needed to hide beneath holograms of primitive settlements. They proudly displayed the blend of human ingenuity and alien innovation that had become their hallmark. In orbit, the new Liberation Council headquarters neared completion. Unlike the regime's imposing fortresses, this structure celebrated the contributions of all member species. Its architecture combined Earth steel with Lithosian crystal, Meridian light gardens with Drachnid organic technology, each element enhancing the others. As the sun set over Singapore, its light refracted through the crystal structures in a display that would have seemed magical to the primitive humans of just a few years ago. But humanity had learned that the greatest magic lies not in technology itself, but in the wisdom to use it in harmony with others. The stars above no longer represented a threat to be feared, but a promise of endless possibilities to be explored together.